Hi, this is Ann with Finance on the Offense, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 4% rule when it comes to retirement. And I want to say that I'm just a random person on the internet, so everything in this video is just for entertainment purposes only. All right, let's get started. Okay, so long story short, the 4% rule is kind of a rule of thumb that determines how much a retiree can pull from their savings every year without ever running out of money. The rule says if you withdraw 4% of your savings, you should be able to do that for the rest of your life and you'll have enough money to last. So when you're looking at getting ready to retire, you can use this 4% rule as a way to see if you have enough money saved to work for how much you're going to spend every year and all that. Let's say you have $100,000 saved. 4% of $100,000 is only $4,000. Now you're almost certainly going to need more than $4,000 each year, so you're going to need to keep working and saving until you raise that $100,000 to something more like $1 million, because 4% of $1 million is $40,000, and that is doable depending on where you live and whether you have debt and that kind of thing. So that means you could pull $40,000 out of your savings every single year and never run out of money. Now this is just a general rule. So that means if you're an average American in an average normal American economy, it should work okay. But if we have another 2008 style market downturn, you might not be okay because your savings in that case would be cut in half. So how did this rule come to be? It was actually created by a guy named William Bingham, and he used information on stocks and bonds from 1926 to 1976, so a 50-year period. And it does assume that you have your money invested in 60% stocks and 40% bonds. Over the history of the stock market in that time, average returns have been about 7 to 8%. And then of course you have to figure inflation, which has been about 2 or 3% historically. And that leaves you with 4% to spend. Now there's definitely some argument about the 4% rule. Some experts, including William Bingham himself, are now saying that that 4% rule is just way too conservative and you'll be fine pulling 5 to 7% out every year with no problem. But then there are other experts saying that 3% is the way to go because of volatility and inflation and just not knowing what's going to happen in the future. Some are even saying that you need $5 to $8 million to retire comfortably and never run out of money. Honestly, that seems pretty crazy to me. Okay, so if you're thinking about retiring, here are a few steps you can take to see if it's feasible using the 4% rule. Number 1, track your spending for 3 months and then multiply that by 4 to see an average of what you spend each year. This way you'll have a baseline of how much you'll need in retirement. Of course, you'll need a little bit of a buffer. You'll need to think about other factors like healthcare as you get older, or whether you plan to spend more or less in retirement than you do now, whether you want to travel. So there are a lot of different things to think about. I personally plan to spend a little more because I feel like I'll have a lot of extra time and I want to go do fun stuff, and we also plan to travel a lot in retirement. Number 2, add up all your investments, not your net worth, just your investments, and then multiply by what percent you think is right. So this would be your 4% or 3 or 5 or whatever you want to do, and see if that amount would be enough to cover your yearly expenses. Number 3, keep in mind if you plan to retire early, you need to have regular brokerage accounts, not retirement accounts, in order to cover you from that age that you decide to retire all the way up to retirement age, which is 59 and a half. Because if you take out your retirement savings before 59 and a half, you're going to get hit with a bunch of penalties and taxes. And that's not good when you don't have any income coming in because you quit your job. All right, I hope this video has helped you to understand the 4% rule and how it applies to you and your retirement. All right, if you like this video, please click on the like button, and I'll see you next week with another Finance on the Offense video. Thank you.